Using the I AM technique in challenging times and remembering to stay with I AM in challenging times is what is going to help you move through those challenging times in the easiest, most loving, kind, supportive way, because this was my experience yesterday. So this is the evidence that this does work, because yesterday I experienced a very challenging time. But I stayed with I AM, and I want to share with you the story of what happened throughout this day yesterday, which was an absolute doozy, and just how incredible it all unfolded because I stayed with I AM. So I'm going to share that story so that you know that when you are next faced with any kind of challenging time, just remember, I AM is the one who can move you through it safely. My name is Hedley and I'm a Law of Assumption coach, and I'm so happy you are here. If you'd like to know more about me or my offerings, including one-to-one Law of Assumption coaching, if you're needing any assistance with rewriting, rescripting, reimagining your reality, my self-concept course, I Am the One, meaning you are the one, and my book, I Am Money, which will completely change your relationship with money. You'll find all of those details in the box below this video. I also have the I Am Masterclass, which is now available as a replay. That will give you more of an in-depth understanding of the I AM technique and how to structure those I AM commands. We're going to talk about it today. And if I could ask you for a simple favor, if you are watching this video, you're enjoying it, and you're enjoying my channel, to please press that subscribe button, give this video a like and a positive comment. That would be most appreciated. Thank you so much. So I had big plans for this video because I was planning on just sliding through the recent events in the US, just kind of skipping over them and being like, you know what, let's just stick with normal programming. Let's pretend that none of that's happening. And of course, we cannot do that in this work. There is no bypassing, there is no pretending, because guess what? Your reality is going to be reflecting back whatever it is you're bypassing, skipping over, trying to pretend doesn't exist. There's no getting away from it. So I'm going to do this video in two parts because it's a bit of a story and it's a good one. I love this story. It happened yesterday. It was an absolute doozy of a day, but my goodness, it was beautiful in the way it unfolded, and that was only because of the work with I AM. So yesterday I woke up ready for a full day of work, super excited because I've just transferred my website over to the system platform, which I'm just really excited about, and I was planning on spending the day just fixing up all of that. And then I had a client at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, which I was also very excited about. So, you know, that was my day. I was sitting at my desk at about 8:30 in the morning, ready to go. And then this storm came out of nowhere. There was no warning. There was not even an inkling that this was going to happen. And this storm was violent. And we have a lot of bad weather up here. We have lots of rain, we've had flooding, we've kind of had it all up here. But this storm was different because it just came out of nowhere. It took everybody by surprise, and it was so shocking in its intensity. It was constant thunder at its maximum volume. It was just flash, flash, flash of lightning. The wind was cyclonic. The rain was sideways. And then, of course, to top it off, there was just hailing. So I'm out there putting blankets on my car and just going, what the fuck is happening? Excuse my language, but that is actually what I was thinking. I was just like, well, where did this come from? Very quickly, as this storm took over, the power went out. Now, what happens when the power goes out here? We've had a few power outages. It always comes on within an hour or so, or a couple of hours. It's never out for that long. The other thing that happens is my phone, because I am with a provider, and I've been with them for 30 years, they don't have good coverage where I am, but because I've been with them for 30 years, I've just always stayed with them and put up with the bad coverage. But when there is a power outage, my phone goes completely dead. So the power goes out, everything goes dead, the storm is raging, and I am going, what is going on? Where is this coming from? Because I'm always looking at a reality that is a reflection of my consciousness. So I don't know what this is reflecting back at this point, because I have other things to think about, and that is that I have a client at 3 p.m. and I could sense that this power outage was a little bit different to the other ones. I just had a sense. I immediately went into I am the power and I am back on. So I immediately went to use the I am technique. Now, if you're watching this for the first time and you don't know what the I am technique is, I would encourage you to go and watch the I am playlist. This is an incredibly powerful technique that I share on my channel. And what the I am technique does is basically you're reducing the separation between yourself and that thing that you are observing. So if I am the power, if I'm observing the power, I'm observing that the power has gone off. So I want to command using I am that the power is back on. So I am the power and I am back on. So I commanded that pretty much instantly. Now, I also knew that even though I am the power and I am back on, I could sense that there was something more in this for me. It wasn't going to be an instant manifestation. I just knew it wasn't. I could feel it. And I just knew that everything that was happening, the storm, the power outage, everything was here to help me see something that I was unaware of within myself. But I'm going to save that for the next video because I just want to talk about how I use the I am technique. Also, because in the morning when all of this was going on, I didn't have the time to go into the reflection because I had to work out how I was going to meet with my client at 3 p.m. I didn't know at this time, but the storm had done extensive damage to the power station and there was a complete power outage in the entire area. There was a couple of little pockets where there was power and Wi-Fi. Now, because my phone isn't working, I am now out of contact. So I'm also disconnected. So I was also affirming I am my phone and I am connected. Oh, you can see Dora. So I am the power and I'm on. I am my phone and I am connected. The other command I made was I am my client session and I am going ahead. Now, my client would have understood if I canceled, but I love my work. I love my clients. I want this session to go ahead. I want to do this session. So I am my client session and I am going ahead. Now, at this point at 9 in the morning, the power's out, my phone is dead, and I have no idea how this client session is going to go ahead. But I am using the I am command. Now, when you use the I am commands, you do not need to know how any of that is happening. And I didn't. I had no idea. I know I don't need to know because I am the infinite I am of my reality and I am the power and I am back on. I am my phone and I'm connected and I am my client session and I'm going ahead. So those were the 3 commands that I just kept coming back to. Then what I'm doing is I'm just following the next idea that I have. So the next idea that I have is just to get all of my stuff together, get my computer, get my keyboard, just pack everything up, put it in a bag and get in the car. For me to have a client session, I need power, I need internet, and I need a quiet space. I do not know where I'm going to find this. I just know that the client session is going ahead. So I end up driving about 40 minutes out because I could see that they had power. And I know that somewhere I'm going to find a place to have this session. I thought maybe I can just sneak into a school or a TAFE or somewhere I can just sneak into a room that has Wi-Fi. I don't know. I was keeping everything open. Then I remember the library. All of this has taken me the whole day. I now have an hour before my client session. I go into the library and I ask them, do you have any meeting rooms? And they say, no, we don't. I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And at that point, there was a part of me that was like, well, look, I gave it a good shot. And then the girl goes, oh, but we do have a really small video conferencing room. And I'm like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I need. And she goes, oh, well, I'll just see if it's free. At that point, I'm like, of course it's free because I am my client session. I'm going ahead. And it was free. It was perfect. I set myself up. I had Dora with me and this client session went ahead and it was just wonderful. And I think it was so rewarding because 1, I love what I do just first and foremost, but for that session to go ahead with everything else that was going on was just really wonderful. And the people at the library were so lovely. They were so helpful. In fact, everywhere I went, everyone was so helpful and so kind and so lovely. The day just flowed. It went really smoothly because everybody was so helpful. Now, after the session, my phone is still dead and I'm realizing I am my phone and I'm connected. So I went up to the mall and I went into Optus and I said, I need to change my phone over. Can I keep the same number? They say, yes, of course. And it's super easy. I walked out of there within half an hour with my phone connected for the first time since I've moved up here, which is almost 4.5 years. And all of a sudden I can take calls while I'm out. I can get texts. I know it sounds ridiculous. I should have done it earlier, but I've been with this company for 30 years. So I just felt loyal to them and I was putting up with really bad reception. So I walk out of there and then I go to the dog park because Dora's been so great. And while I'm at the dog park, I just check to see whether the power is back on. And I can see that there's like 30,000 houses without power. There's extensive damage to the power station. It's probably going to be a much longer repair than expected. And I just filled out the form to add my house to the list. And a couple of minutes after doing that, I get a phone call on my phone. It's the electricity company. And this lovely guy is calling me just to let me know that, yes, it was probably going to be a while before the power was back on. The damage was extensive. And I'm like, what is happening here? Everybody is so helpful and so lovely. It was wild. As I was walking around the park, I had the full realization of what the storm and the power outage was reflecting back within me. I could feel the energy move. I had a bit of a cry because I realized what it was reflecting. And then as I was driving home, I was just affirming, I am the power and I am back on. Now, the guy on the phone had said the power is not going to be on at least for another day or maybe longer. The text messages that I was receiving were saying there'd been extensive damage. There's not going to be any power. And as I was driving home, all of the houses looked dark and the street lights were off. So I was driving up my street and all I was thinking was, I am the power and I am back on. That's all I was saying. I don't need to know how. I just need to know that that's what it is. And so as I pulled into my driveway, I could see the lights on in my house. The power was back on. So by the time I got home, all 3 of those statements had been manifested. Had I fallen into the trap of, oh no, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to do my client session. I can't get any internet. This company sucks. That day would have gone very differently. When there is a challenging time in reality, the urge is to look to reality and start trying to change things in reality. That is not the direction you want to head. You want to turn away from reality and you turn in. I am the power and I am back on. I am my phone and I am connected. I am my client session and I am going ahead. I had zero idea how any of that was going to happen. And that's where it's a little bit exhausting because you have to stay in I am. I was still taking a lot of action in reality, but the action I was taking was coming from the place that the power is back on, that my phone is connected and the client session is going ahead. I was just following the urges that I was having, just putting one step in front of the other, and the next step leads to the next step. When you work with I am, you are not going to be given all the information. You're going to be given the next step to take, and that's it. And then when you take that step, then you'll be given the next step. And then when you take that step, you'll be given the next step. The rational mind needs to know every single step now. And I can assure you that that's going to pull you out of I am, and that's going to pull you back into reality. And that's going to pull you into the affirmation that I don't have what I want. So when you are in your challenging time, you want to come back to I am as quickly as possible. I am the thing that you're observing, and I am the desired end results. That all you have to command, and that's the command that you must stay with through whatever it is that you are experiencing. And then reality can start organizing the sequence of events and letting you know what the next step to take is so that you can take it. So I'd love for you to remember that when you are in a challenging time, come back to I am and command it from there with a sense of lightness and looseness. This is not about controlling reality. This is actually about controlling your consciousness. And what you're doing in consciousness is producing your reality. We have no control over reality, so stop trying to control it. Come back to I am. I am is the controller of consciousness, and consciousness is the one and only reality. So I hope that inspires you. If you'd like to know more about the I AM technique, the I AM Masterclass replay is available, which will help deepen your understanding of this incredibly powerful technique, help you structure the commands, and give you the confidence to be able to use it all day, every day, which is what I do, and it works. And I'm also going to share a bit more about this story because there is a bit more to it. I am going to link the making of the I AM technique up here. If you haven't seen that video, I encourage you to check that out as well. Have a wonderful week. Stay in I AM, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.